Hello and welcome to the Legacy IAS. So today we are going to take very important session, that is impacts mains answer writing program. So this program will not be considered only for one class. We are going to take around 30 plus classes in this mains answer writing class. So in this, what you are going to get, I am going to summarize first here is this mains answer writing program I am going to conduct through previous year questions. That means from various subjects, various papers like GS paper 1, 2, 3 and 4 as well as essay paper. We are going to discuss PYQ, and through this PYQ I am going to help you how to write a better answer. Definitely within 30 plus classes if you are going to attend, your chances to write a better answer will be very high. That means phenomenal, it is going to change. Just with the help of one class you will not going to improve yourself, but after 30 plus classes you are going to improve yourself. Yes, and after some classes I am going to give you some homework also. In that homeworks, one or two questions you also have to write the answer. One more thing is, in this sessions, when we discuss previous year questions, I am not going to tell you entire answers. What I am going to tell you, what things you have to mention over there, you have to write. Definitely I am going to give you some content. All these things will going to be included in this particular program, that is impact program. So first we are going to start without wasting this time, this program. So what assumptions I need to take over here? So first is this. Okay, so some assumptions I am going to take, okay, regarding this. Okay, so this is the case is, first assumptions I am going to take is regarding the content. First thing is regarding the content. See, without content you cannot write any answer. You have to be aware about the content. Content is necessary. That is important. So here I am going to assume ki at least once you have already gone through the content, once at least once you already gone through the content, then only you can understand, okay, the previous year questions, then only you can write the answer. Without content definitely it is not possible. If you know the content, then definitely 50% plus job is already over, even more than that job is over. So first thing is this, content you have to focus. Here in this program I am not going to tell you the content. I am not going to teach important basic concept that you have to cover in your classes. You in your notes you already make lot of notes, so in that throw only you have to do it. Here content I am not going to teach you. Content is must be available with you. Yes, I will going to give you the content related to this, but actually content I am not going to teach you here. That is the one important thing is. So here I am going to use this content where when I am going to solve this previous year questions. In this previous questions, what we are going to do, we are going to brainstorm all those questions. I'm going to understand basically the parts of the questions, how to understand the different parts that has been given in the previous year questions, that we need to understand. We need to think about every part of that questions, basically how to answer those parts and how to interlink these two to three parts that is having given in the questions, correct? And then only we need to discuss about how to make a structure. See, first important thing is, whenever you see any questions that is mains answer writing question, first you have to brainstorm about that questions. Then you have to look about the different parts of the questions. Then you have to think about that what content I have to add in that particular question, then structurize that particular part. This is required basically. That means you have to understand the demand of the questions, then you have to find out the content, then you have to find out, think about how the content will be useful with different parts of the questions, and then you have to structure it. So structuring should be the last part that you have to focus, not the first part. So here I am not going to discuss like this, what is intro, what is body, what is conclusion, that we are going to discuss already with the PYQ only. So this is the various this approach we are going to take basically here. So first important assumptions is always this, ki you already gone through the content, you know the content. So I am going to give you the short explanation what is the demand for questions, correct? Think, brainstorm, and then we are going to make a structure of that particular question that we are going to do it. Next important the thing that we need to understand is time management. That is the most crucial part here, is the time management. So how we have to manage the time? See, any paper you take, like GS paper 1, you take GS paper 2 or GS paper 3 or GS paper 4, like this. So here I am going to take like example, in entire paper you are having two types of questions. One will be the 10 marker questions and second will be basically 15 marker question, correct or not? So one question you will be 10 marker, another is 15 marker. So in any paper 10 marker will be 10 and 15 marker will be 10. For example, GS paper 1, 2 and 3 I am talking here. This is टोटल पेपर जो आपका होगा, टोटल दिस विल बी आर 250 मार्क्स. कितने का 250 मार्क्स होगा? तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल 100 मार्क्स हियर एंड 150 मार्क्स हियर, टोटल इज 250 मार्क्स. एंड दिस एंटायर पेपर जो होगा दैट विल बी अराउंड 180 मिनट्स. सो दिस 10 मिनट क्वेश्चन जो होगा, 10 मिनट 10 मार्कर क्वेश्चन यू हैव टू सॉल्व इन 7 मिनट. So total 10 questions are there. So 10 marker, each 10 marker you have to write in how many minutes? 7 minutes. So total is 10 questions are there. So total time you are going to spend here is 17 minutes. And same way, for example, in 15 marker question, each question के लिए how much you have to give time? Around 11 minutes. So when you give time 11 minutes, so total questions आपके पास कितने हैं? 10. So total time you are going to spend here is 110 minutes. So actually may you are going to spend how many? 180 minutes. So 180 minutes is simply means 3 hours. That is what time has been given for GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3. So first thing you must have cleared here is कि 10 marker जो भी question होगा, 10 marker questions that you have to solve within 7 minutes, you have to write within 7 minutes. और जो 15 marker question होगा that you have to write within 11 minutes. That is the one time management strategy you should be aware about it. अब नेक्स्ट थिंग इज क्या है कि जो 10 मार्कर क्वेश्चन है, 10 मार्कर क्वेश्चन, इसके लिए यू हैव टू राइट हाउ मेनी पेजेस? 2 pages are required. For your 100 words are there. 100 words means 50 words, 50 words, that is in this way. So you have to write 2 pages. And how many minutes required is 7 minutes is there, 7 minutes. But again in the 7 minutes you have to think also, you have to read the questions, you have to brainstorm the questions, you have to think about the content, different parts of the questions, demand of the questions. So in sab ke liye you have to take at least 1 minute. So 1 minute time you are going to consume, 1 minute time you are going to consume to understand that questions. Understood? 1 minute you are going to consume to understand the questions. In this 1 minute you are going to brainstorm also. In this 1 minute you are going to think about the approach of the question. In this 1 minute you are going to structure the question. That means in remaining 6 minutes, in remaining 6 minutes you have to write entire answers. Understood? So in 10 marker questions, 1 minute time will be consumed in reading that questions, understanding that questions, brainstorming that questions, okay, thinking about the approach of that questions. So only 6 minutes left now for you, and so in the 6 minutes you have to write entire answer. This strategy you have to follow for the 10 marker questions. But about for example other question 15 marker questions. So since 15 marker जो questions होगा 15, these questions are lengthy questions. Like 10 marker question जो होगा that will be 1 line or 1.5 line, that's it. So it is easy for you. In the 10 marker questions, number of parts also will be one only, that's it. Direct for example questions you will get it. But in 15 markers length of the question will be big. So in this क्या होगा, at least 2 minute time you have to take now. कितना? 2 minute time you have to take to understand that questions, to structurize that questions, to think about the approach of the questions, to understand different parts of the questions, to link different parts of the questions, to link those parts with the current affairs also. ये सब करने के लिए you require at least 2 minutes. And I told you 15 marker questions you have to complete within 11 minutes. That means still 9 minutes left. So in this 9 minutes you have to write the answer. That means around 3 pages जो भी आपको UPSC देगा, in 3 pages में you have to write within 9 minutes. That means 2 minutes you are going to take to understand the questions, and next 9 minutes you are going to write entire answer. So this approach you have to follow. So if you are going to follow this particular approach, automatically time management will be very easy for you. Understood or not? So this is the time management for each questions. Understood? So 10 marker, ध्यान रखना 10 marker questions, how much time requires? 7 minutes, 1 minute to think and 6 minutes to write answer. And 15 marker questions, 2 minutes to think and 9 minutes to write answer. If you follow this particular time limit, okay, and that is also in very strict manner, then it is highly possible that you are going to complete the question paper there in the UPSC. Because first task is to get maximum marks in the UPSC mains exam is to complete the paper. This is the biggest task anyone is having there. So that task we have to follow first. Now I am going to discuss some other things, like what is the examiners look for, examiners demand for any questions. So examiners की demand क्या है for any questions? So first important examiners demand is clarity. फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट डिमांड क्या है आपकी, क्लैरिटी उसकी है. दैट मीन्स डायरेक्टली एड्रेस द क्वेश्चन. सिंपल मीनिंग इज क्लैरिटी सिंपली मीन्स डायरेक्टली आंसर द क्वेश्चन. करेक्ट, आंसर द क्वेश्चन. दैट मीन्स ऐसा ना हो कि क्वेश्चन इज समथिंग एल्स एंड यू आर आंसरिंग समथिंग एल्स. You have to answer the question only, and that is the reason is best thing is whenever you practice answer writing practice and you write the answer, and you just want to understand whether your answer is correct or not, whether you have followed that directly answer the question or not, you have to do this thing. You just need to hide your question and read the answer, and after reading the answer guess the question. If you are able to guess the correct question, that means your answer is right. So that means what you have to do it, you write the answer, you hide the question, you show this answer to your friend and ask the friend कि this is the answer that I have written, can you guess what can be the question? If he is able to guess your question, that means your answer is perfect. Otherwise you have to make some changes in that answer. Correct. So first important task is clarity, that is very very important. Second important, that is coherence. Coherence simply means flow logically. It simply means whatever you are writing, that should be flow logically only. That is the main important. That means introduction है, then body है, then conclusion है. ऐसा ना हो कि intro itself you have concluded, ऐसा ना हो कि conclusion में you are writing introduction. It should flow logically. First intro, then body part, then conclusion. That point should be linked. One point, second point, third point, that should be linked. Like firstly, secondly, thirdly, thereafter. These points should be linked, and the flow should be logical also. That is the second thing that is required in any answer. Third thing is this, relevance. Third thing that is required in your answer is relevance. That means do not write everything you know. Understood? You should not tell the examiner what you know basically. You have to write what is relevant. Stick to the demand of the questions. Identify basically the tail end word. That is directive keywords have been given. We will discuss those directive keywords also today itself. You have to look for directive keywords. That means whether it is asking for discuss, comment, critically evaluate, critically examine, critically analyze, okay, elucidate, illustrate, these things are there or not, you have to answer according to that requirement only. So do not write everything what you know, you have to write what have been asked. That's it. Next, that is important thing is, fourth important part is, that is depth. Depth का मतलब क्या होता है यहाँ पे? So here when I say depth, explain why or how something happened. That means you have to explain WH questions also, and WH questions may focus on why and focus on how instead of what or where. So multi-dimensional approach should be there in this depth. Multi-dimensional approach in the sense geographical, okay, point of view, environmental point of view, international point of view, political point of view, ओके, इकोनॉमिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, जितना भी आपका जो मल्टी डायमेंशनल अप्रोच होता है, यू हैव टू फॉलो टू राइट एन आंसर, देन ओनली डेप्थ विल बी देयर स्पेसिफिकली इन 15 मार्कर क्वेश्चंस. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट 10 मार्कर बिकॉज 15 मार्कर में दैट इज एक्सपेक्टेड फ्रॉम यू. And next, fifth important that requirement is any question is this, fifth important part is, that is presentation. Fifth important क्या है? Presentation. That means proper headings have been used or not, bullet points have been used or not. Like example, question is asking about illustrate, you have to write in the bullet points. Or for example, question is asking about enumerate, You have to write in the bullet points only. Flow chart have been used or not, diagram have been used or not. So wherever possible you have to use flow charts, you have to use diagrams, headings, bullet point. These things we have to understand, then definitely your presentation will be great. So presentation is important, because every other guy who is sitting in this mains exam hall, definitely 90 to 80% students are aware about the content, but all the 80% they are not able to present the content in very good manner, so that examiners can feel that yes, this student has given a proper answer. So that also you need to take care of it. But these things will not come within 1 day or 2 day or 3 day. For that you have to do lot of practice, and practice means at least 20 to 25 days you have to write answers. After 20 to 25 days, automatically you will see improvement in your answer writing practice. So that is the reason you have to have patience, but you have to continue with the consistency. Consistency is the main tool through which you can improve your answer writing. I am telling you this. Consistency is the most important tool that you have to follow. You should not restrict yourself that no one is there to check your answers. That is not the case. You have to keep writing as much as possible. Automatically within 20 to 30 days later, your answer is going to be improved. Correct? So these things are required over here. Is now I am going to cover is some directive words or talent words that is mentioned in the every question, and at the end of the question. See, these are talent words are not that important. I do not want to give that much importance to those words, but still they make some difference. So that is the reason I am going to tell you how to understand those words. So for example, सबसे पहले for example the word that I am going to use, type 1 talent word, that means simple category words. So when you say simple category words, there has been given like elucidate, illustrate, clarify, throw light on, elaborate, explain, highlight. These words have been mentioned, correct? So whenever any, for example, questions you will get it when these type of words is there, then how to answer here is, see, elucidate means hota hai lucid manner. Lucid means in very simple words. Elucidate means write in very lucid language, means make it as simple as possible. Illustrate means write something with examples. Like example, one question has been given and bola illustrate. You have to explain that questions but with examples. Clarify, again you have to clarify the statement that has been given with examples. Throw light on means whatever statement has been given, you have to explain that statement with examples. Elaborate means kya hai ki that has been given in very summary form, you have to elaborate, you have to expand that part and tell entire definition of that particular part of the question. Explain, again same thing hai, anything has been given you have to explain about it. Okay, whether why is it so, aisa karke everything we are going to. So here a student need to explain the questions statement in very simple words without adding, commenting or criticizing anything. This you have to keep in mind whenever such simple words are there in tell, that is type 1 directive words, जिसको हम लोग बोल सकते हैं tell words, we can say. If such words are there, then student need to explain the questions statement in very simple words without adding, without commenting or without criticizing anything. That you have to keep in mind. वहीं पे when we move to the type 2, so when we move to the type 2, for example, correct, in type 2 क्या है, like describe, like descriptions, enumerate, indicate, bring about. Here what thing is there in these type of okay questions, student need to describe the given statement or question in a very objective manner. Understood? Objective means you should not put your own personal opinion. Whatever it is, factual information you have to give without involving any personal emotions. Understood? Without involving any personal emotions, you have to tell about it. So students need to describe the given statement questions in a very objective manner without involving any personal emotions. These directive words are very closed type to one. Like example, when I say describe or descriptions, here you do not require to give your personal opinion, you have to give simply fact. Enumerate means क्या होता है कि you have to give all the explanation in the point format, point 1 2 3 4. Indicate, bring about, all these में personal opinion is not required, that I am telling you here. Then comes to type 3. Type 3 is very very important here. जब आप टाइप 3 में आते हो, यहाँ critically evaluate, understood? Earlier UPSC used to give a tell word, that is criticize. Okay, but now UPSC stopped giving these terms, that is directive words criticize, because student used to understand criticize means always oppose, always give negative side. So because of that, now UPSC starts giving this way: critically evaluate, critically examine, critically comment. Understood or not? So critically evaluate whenever is there. So whenever the word critically is there, critically simply means whatever statement has been given in the questions, you have to give, first you have to understand evaluate. So whatever statement has been given, you have to evaluate that statement. How you are going to evaluate? You will give pro also and cons also. Uske baad critically means whatever the negative side is there, whatever the gap is there, whatever the gap is there, whatever the weakness is there, you have to focus that too actually. See, when I say evaluate, key, like example, evaluate the consequences of FDI in retail sector. Understood? If I give you one statement like this: FDI in retail is a must for the modernization of the retail sector in India. Evaluate. I am not adding this word critically. Just for an example, हम यहाँ पे I am not using the term critically evaluate. I am just using evaluate. That's it. I am just going to give the term evaluate only. कि FDI in retail is a must for the modernization of the retail sector in India. Evaluate. अब यहाँ पे क्या करो? Evaluate means you are going to give you the positive side of it and the negative side of it. That is evaluate. When I say critically evaluate, so critically evaluate में क्या होगा कि FDI in retail is a must for the modernization of the retail sector in India. Here you have to provide pro also and cons also, but you have to give more information, more content on why FDI in retail is not a must for modernization of retail sector in India. That means give pro and cons and say why negative way more than the positive. I think you understood now. That means, see, evaluate means क्या होता है? What is the meaning of the term evaluate? You have to tell pro and cons both. When I say critically evaluate, correct, then you have to tell what is the problem here, what is the negative side is there. So you have to give more weightage to the negative side. Understood or not? That is critically evaluate. Just for example, कोई okay, इस मैंने assignment किया है and I have shown you the start assignment. आपको बोलूँ critically evaluate this assignment. अब मैं बोलूँ evaluate करो, आप बोलोगे हाँ सही है, इसमें ये चीज़ है, ये चीज़ है, that is missing is there, that's evaluate कर लिया. बट क्रिटिकली इवैल्यूएट में क्या होगा कि वेयर दिस मिसिंग इज देयर, और आपको बताना है इफ वी ऐड दीज थिंग्स और मोर देन द थिंग इज दिस असाइनमेंट विल बी कंप्लीट. सो सिंपल मीनिंग इज क्रिटिकली इवैल्यूएट मींस give pro and cons and say why negative way more than the positive. That is critically evaluate. Same for critically examine also. See, when I say term examine, examine means क्या होता है? Just means postmortem. जैसे किसी का डेथ हो गया, समवन एक्चुअली डाइड बिकॉज ऑफ सम एक्सीडेंट, ओके, और बिकॉज ऑफ सम एनीथिंग, बट डेथ हुआ है. अब यहाँ पे एग्जामाइन करना है. एग्जामाइन में क्या करोगे? यू आर गोइंग टू लुक वेदर इट वाज ए नेचुरल डेथ, दैट इज एग्जामाइन. वेदर इट वाज ए मर्डर, यू आर गोइंग टू एग्जामाइन. सो यू आर गोइंग टू लुक फॉर एवरी एंगल और नॉट, दैट इज एग्जामाइन. अंडरस्टूड? एग्जामाइन मीन्स पोस्टमार्टम ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक. अंडरस्टूड? बट व्हेन आई से क्रिटिकली एग्जामाइन, सो अभी जब क्रिटिकली एग्जामाइन करोगे then you will go more toward the negative side only. Like example this: in the Indian governance system, role of non-state actors has been only marginal. Understood? Critically examine this statement. आपको क्या बताना है? First, Indian governance system, role of non-state actors has been only marginal. First, you have to tell what is the role of non-state actors in the Indian governance system. Yeah, non-state actors in the sense like civil society organizations. Here I am talking about NGO. Here I am talking about the pressure groups. These, इनका जो रोल है इन द गवर्नेंस सिस्टम क्या है? यू हैव टू टेल दिस. सो यू हैव टू एग्जामाइन द रोल ऑफ दीज non-state actors in the Indian governance system. But when I use the term critically examine, तो आपको क्या करना है? कि नो, रोल ऑफ नॉन स्टेट एक्टर्स हैज बीन ओनली मार्जिनल, आप बोलोगे नहीं, इट इज नॉट मार्जिनल, it is more than marginal, correct, it is a very important role is there in the Indian governance system. Without these non-state actors, governance system cannot perform. It is a part of governance in India also. So that is how you have to write the answer here. See, for example, in this particular question, if I remove the word critically, if I just use the word examine और यहाँ पे ये लिख दें critically word हटा दें, if you remove this critical word, just remove it, and just question is this. See how the answer will going to change. Question here यहाँ पे है, in the Indian governance system, role of non-state actors has been only marginal. Examine this statement. तो आपको बताना है कि नॉन स्टेट एक्टर्स का व्हाट इज द रोल इज देयर इन द इंडियन गवर्नेंस सिस्टम. You will tell this, and then you will decide whether it is marginal or not. Understood? But when I say critically examined, you have to prove that now it is not a marginal. It is much more than that. That is critically examined. The directive word meaning is. ऐसे क्रिटिकली कमेंट. सी कमेंट मीन्स क्या होता है कि यू इट इज कमेंट में क्या होता है, यू हैव कंप्लीटली फ्री, वट एवर द कमेंट यू पास यू कैन पास इट. लाइक एग्जांपल, कमेंट ऑन दिस मूवी, आप बताओगे मूवी इज बैड, मूवी इज गुड, मूवी का स्टोरी लाइन वाज गुड और मूवी में एक्टिंग वाज नॉट गुड, इट इज अप टू यू कमेंट. बट मैंने से क्रिटिकली कमेंट, तो आपको जो कमेंट होगा वट एवर, it will be more toward the negative side now. Understood or not? So these directive words basically require a balanced analysis by examining both positive and negatives before forming the conclusions. The criticized directives I told you has been rarely used in the UPSC questions today because they start using critically comment, critically examine and critically evaluate. तो यहाँ पे अगर आप देखो तो 60 to 40 का स्टेटमेंट हो जाएगा. 60 will go to the negative side, 40 will go to the positive side. Understood or not this? That is type 3 tell words. I think यहाँ तक किसी को कोई दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए. You people already understood about it. Clear? Everyone is clear now? Now next. Type 4. So when I come type 4 here, टाइप 4 में है इवेल्युएशन. वन टर्म हैज बीन गिवन, इवेल्युएशन. इवेल्युएशन जस्ट लाइक इवेल्युएट. यहाँ पे क्या है, प्रो एंड कॉन्स एंड एक्सप्लेन विच वे मोर देन अकॉर्डिंग टू यू. सिंपल, आपको इवेल्युएट करना है. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, मैं आपको बोलूं कि दिस इज द न्यू फोन दैट हैज बीन लॉन्च, you have to evaluate about this particular phone. So you are going to tell you positive side of that phone, some pro features, some con features, and then you are going to tell कि whether I need to purchase this or not based on the pro and cons. If pros are more, आप बोलोगे it is beneficial, you can purchase it. If cons are more, you will say that I should not purchase that phone. That is what evaluate is there. कि give pro and cons and explain which way, that means pro more or cons are more, that you have to tell. Like example, evaluate the pro and cons of deep sea mining. So यहाँ पे you have to tell of deep sea mining के pro also and cons also, and then you have to tell what is more, pro or cons. That is what evaluate. Same evaluation, evaluate, both are लगभग एक जैसे होते हैं. So these directive words require a balanced assessment but also demand a final judgment on which side is stronger. Understood? Because you are evaluating, you have to give the judgment also, you have to give the conclusion also. Simply आप ऐसे नहीं छोड़ सकते हो कि ऑडियंस पे यू कैन नॉट लीव इट कि नाउ इट इज अप टू द ऑडियंस, ऑडियंस नीड टू डिसाइड. हमने बता दिया है कि प्रो ये कॉन्स ये, नाउ ऑडियंस नीड टू डिसाइड इट. यहाँ पे यू हैव टू गिव द फाइनल जजमेंट ऑल्सो एंड विच साइड इज स्ट्रॉन्गर अकॉर्डिंग टू यू, दैट यू हैव टू टेल हियर. क्लियर? दैट इज टाइप 4 टेल वर्ड्स. वहीं पे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू कम बैक अगेन, नेक्स्ट इज टाइप 5 टेल वर्ड्स. यहाँ पे लाइक एग्जाम्पल एग्जामाइन. I think inform about you what is examine. So examine means क्या होता है, student need to write about both good and bad side of a statement. It is just like a post-mortem in nature. I told you examine means post-mortem in nature. That means goal is to report the truth objectively. Understood? That means you should not make your personal opinions based on the given fact in the statement, based on the given fact in factual informations. You have to report the truth objectively. That means you have to look for both sides. Like I told you, examine means that there is a dead body, you have to examine whether it was a murder or it was a natural death. So based on the fact you are going to tell whether it is a murder or it was a natural death. You cannot make your own personal opinion. So that is what examine is. For example, examine the main provision of national child policy and throw light on the status of its implementation. So examine the main provisions kya hai? Whatever the main provisions has been given, whether the provisions they are good or bad, you have to examine it. Whether these provisions are good for the future, you have to examine it and throw light on the status of its implementation. Implementation हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, that you have to tell with fact basically. So this directive, that is examine, require detailed investigations, factual analysis and logical explanations. You can mention your own notes. Be careful, आपके पास notes है, उस notebook में you have to write all those things. आपको एक सेपरेटली एक मेंस आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस बुक लेना है एंड दैट मेंस आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस जो बुकलेट होगी दैट शुड बी जस्ट लाइक इन यूपीएससी फॉर्मेट ओनली. दैट मीन्स जो A4 साइज होना चाहिए एंड पेज के बोथ साइड मार्जिन शुड बी गिवन जस्ट लाइक यूपीएससी. तो वो आपको करना है. सो दिस डायरेक्टिव हमने ऑलरेडी समझ लिया. इट वाज इजी डायरेक्टिव, इट इज नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट डायरेक्टिव. Now move to another directive, that is type 6. So here in type 6, the term is critically analyze. Analyze word is there and critically analyze word is there. Correct or not? So जब when I say analyze करना है, analyze means break that different parts, correct, and examine them individually. Critically analyze or analyze, एक statement has been given, question has been given, that question may have multiple parts, so you have to break that question to different parts and you have to analyze different parts. That is analyze, correct. So best approach is to answer in such analyzed questions is WH type questions. That means what, why, where, how, related to the given statement. Understood? So write the answer by breaking different parts of the questions and then examine them individually. And best approach is that you can ask some questions regarding that statements about what, about why, where, how, related to the given statement. अब एक क्रिटिकली एनालिसिस क्या है? सी एनालिसिस तो ऑलरेडी क्लियर हो गया. अब क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस में नेगेटिव पार्ट विल कम. So require the answer to be divided into two parts, that is pro and cons, strength and weakness or multiple perspective. After that you should weigh more towards the negative side, that is critical analysis. Understood or not? Critical analysis means you have to focus then on the weakness side, that is critical analysis. When simple analysis is there, no need to focus more on the negative side, you have to discuss both. But when it critical analysis, now you have to focus more on the weakness side is also there, gap side is also there, that is critically analyze. Type 7. So when I say type 7, here tell words like prove is there, substantiate or give argument. यहाँ पे the question में they are asking about the examples, about the fact basically. You have to prove, you cannot prove without facts, you have to tell the facts, correct. Like example, if I say there is a poverty in India, आप ऐसा बोल के तो नहीं निकल जाओगे there is a poverty in India, you have to provide the facts. Like in this particular, okay, for example, एक कमेटी बनाई गई थी या रिपोर्ट आई थी, इन दैट रिपोर्ट this much of data has been collected, based on that I am giving my opinion. So you have to prove it. So examiner already has a conclusion in the question. Understood? Prove में क्या है कि एक जो भी statement has been given in the question, that is concluded. You cannot go against that question, against that statement, because examiner already has a conclusion in the question. Student need to prove that the conclusion is correct with facts, with examples, with logical reasoning. Understood? So यहाँ पे whatever question has been given, okay, वो already concluded ही है, you cannot go against it. Like example, an essential condition to eradicate poverty is to liberate the poor from process of deprivation substantiate this statement with suitable example. That means जो भी statement दिया गया है, this statement is true, you have to prove that this statement why it is true. You have to prove with the help of fact, with the help of examples, with the help of logical reasonings. That is what about this particular type of keywords or directive words. I hope this much is clear to everyone. Now next, if we move like type 8 word, type 8 is those who have any problem, if someone is having any doubt regarding these impact programs classes, like if you are not able to understand any particular keyword or something, you can ask to me also. Okay, so you can approach to me in my office and you can ask some doubt if you are having. Now next is discuss. नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट कीवर्ड इज डिस्कस. डिस्कस मीन सिंपल होता है, like एग्जांपल बैठ के चार बात करेंगे, वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस अबाउट इट. सो डिस्कस सिंपली मीन्स statement may be complex and the student needs to simplify it. Like example, like Aam Aadmi Party lost elections in Delhi, okay, against BJP. Discuss it. It is a complex statement. You have to tell why you think that they lost elections, what was the reasons behind it. You have to discuss, you have to simplify it. Understood it? So in discuss, a statement is an open-ended question. Understood? Whatever the statement in the question has been given, it is an open-ended question. That means a student must analyze the topic from multiple perspective and take a holistic view basically. मतलब जो भी स्टेटमेंट दिया गया, वट एवर द स्टेटमेंट हैज बीन गिवन इन द क्वेश्चन, ये जरूरी नहीं कि द स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट और नॉट करेक्ट. वी डोंट नो. You have to discuss it. You have to prove it through fact, through logic, through informations, whether that statement is truth or not. That is what. Like example, Krishnadev Raya, the king of Vijayanagara, was not only an accomplished scholar himself, but was also a great patron of learning and literature. Discuss. अब यहाँ पे for example you have to tell कि whether he was a great patron of learning and literature or not. So you have to write this by giving various examples, various facts about it, कि whether he has patronized some individuals, those who are very great in the field of literature, in the field of learning. You have to give some examples over it. Clear? Then comes to 9, comment. So comment में I told you it is up to you, whatever the comment you want to pass it, you can pass it here. So in this comment key approach क्या होना चाहिए? Explain in simple word with an evaluation of both sides. Correct? That means it requires an opinion but must be supported with facts, with logic and with examples. That means in the comment, जो comment दिया गया, in that comment question is asking about your opinion, but whatever your opinion is, that opinion must be supported by some facts, that opinion must be supported by some logic and some examples. Example is this: South China Sea has assumed a great geopolitical significance in the present context. Comment. आपको कमेंट करके बताने कि why South China Sea has assumed great geopolitical significance. So you have to give various examples, whether, like example, various trade routes are there in the South China Sea, how many countries are involved in the South China Sea, any mineral exploration is possible in the South China Sea. So that way you have to tell it. Correct? That is what type 9 tell words or directive words are there. So this is all the directive words I have covered. Now we are going to discuss some questions. Today in this first class basically, I am going to take two questions only, only two questions. Okay, so based on that, and after another class will come, we are going to make few more questions. So basically in this particular first session itself, I am going to start with GS paper 2, specifically polity. So once after 2, 3, 4 classes, polity is done, then I will move to another section like governance or any other section. Clear? That is the important thing is there. So I am going to discuss here. So it is basically, so first session is on polity. Understood? तो फर्स्ट सेशन इज ऑन पॉलिटी ओनली, वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस दैट. फर्स्ट आई एम गिविंग यू सम टाइम, read that question. Okay, I'm giving you some time, you have to read the question and then think about it. Read this question. Clear? उसके बाद you have to brainstorm it. First important is, this question is 15 marker. How many word is required? 250 word is required. So at least how many pages you have to fill? 3 pages. जैसे होता क्या नॉर्मली आई विल टेल यू, जो भी आपका आंसर शीट होता है, लाइक दिस इज द आंसर शीट, this is your answer sheet. In this between you have to write, normally in one page you can write 100 words normally. So for 250 words you have to write around 2.5 pages, that is required. This is 15 marker questions. As I told you, how many minutes is required to complete this? 11 minutes is required. How many minutes you have to consume in thinking? 2 minutes in thinking and 9 minutes to write. But since this is the first time you are going to understand this, first you can take this 11 minutes जो time आप ले रहे हो, take this like 14 minute time. I am just giving you this. When you start writing, okay, अभी beginner हो आप, so during beginner time you can take, instead of 11 minutes you can take 14 minutes. That means you take 3 minutes more. In this 3 minute more में क्या करना है? Out of 14 minutes, take at least, for example, 4 minutes to think. 4 minutes I am going to give think and 10 minutes to write. फिर धीरे धीरे हम लोग क्या करेंगे? I am going to decrease this time 4 to 3 minutes, then 4 to 2 minutes and 10 to 9 minutes. See, from day one itself you cannot write this answer within 11 minutes. That I also know about it. I cannot basically expect too much from you right now from the day one itself. I told you it is going to take time. You have to give some time and then only you can improve yourself. So instead of 11 minutes, right now for 15 marker questions, I am giving you 14 minutes total to write an answer. Out of that 14 minutes, take sufficient 4 minutes. कितना time दे रहा हूँ? 4 minute में आपको time दे रहा हूँ. 4 minutes to think about it. And then जब पूरा आपका think हो जाए, brainstorm हो जाए, different parts समझ में आ जाए, you just, okay, content you understood, okay, structure you are able to make it properly, then only take 10 minutes to write the entire answer. इतना तो कर ही सकते हो, that is required here. Clear everyone? So क्वेश्चन क्या था? क्वेश्चन आपका था पार्लियामेंट्स पावर to amend the constitution is a limited power and it cannot be enlarged into absolute power. So this is the first statement or first part of the question has been given. क्या है कि पार्लियामेंट की जो पावर है टू अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, इट इज ए लिमिटेड पावर. क्या है? इट इज ए लिमिटेड पावर and it cannot be enlarged into a absolute power. This is the first part of the question has been given. देखो इन क्वेश्चन में आप देखना कि द थिंग इज दिस, डायरेक्टिव वर्ड इज नॉट देयर. ओके, सम डायरेक्टिव वर्ड्स आप लोग सकते हो एक्सप्लेन ये करके, वन डायरेक्टिव वर्ड इज हियर, बट नॉट दैट टाइप ऑफ डायरेक्टिव वर्ड्स. हियर यू हैव टू इंटरलिंक बोथ स्टेटमेंट. अब इसमें कहा इन द लाइट ऑफ दिस स्टेटमेंट, नो, इन द लाइट ऑफ दिस स्टेटमेंट, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि पार्लियामेंट हैज लिमिटेड पावर एंड इट कैन नॉट बी चेंज टू एन एब्सोल्यूट पावर. इन द लाइट ऑफ दिस एक्सप्लेन वेदर कि पार्लियामेंट अंडर आर्टिकल नंबर 368 of the constitution can destroy the basic structure of the constitution by expanding its amending power. That means it is asking क्या पार्लियामेंट ऐसा कर सकता है क्या पार्लियामेंट कैन इंक्रीज इट्स पावर्स, क्या पार्लियामेंट थ्रू यूजिंग आर्टिकल नंबर 368, क्या पार्लियामेंट कैन डिस्ट्रॉय द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, ये इसमें क्वेश्चन है. सो अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन इज, तो क्वेश्चन बेसिकली रिवॉल्व्स अराउंड आर्टिकल नंबर 368. अंडरस्टूड और नॉट? तो क्वेश्चन जो आपका दिया गया है, इट इज बेसिकली रिवॉल्विंग अराउंड 368 ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दैट डील्स विद पार्लियामेंट्स पावर टू अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. क्लियर है कि नहीं? इतना आपको एकदम ब्रेन स्टॉर्म पता चल गया है कि दिस क्वेश्चन जो आपका दिया गया है, इट बेसिकली डील्स विद आर्टिकल 368. अंडरस्टूड? अब इसमें जो पहला स्टेटमेंट है कि पार्लियामेंट पावर टू अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज लिमिटेड एंड इट कैन नॉट बी लार्ज इन एब्सोल्यूट पावर, दिस इज बेसिकली a truth, this is a fact basically. So this basically hint at the basic structure doctrine. दिस पर्टिकुलर, जब आप कंटेंट पढ़ोगे जीएस पेपर 2, तो यू मस्ट हैव कवर्ड आर्टिकल नंबर 13 ऑल्सो, यू मस्ट हैव कवर्ड जुडिशल रिव्यू ऑल्सो, यू मस्ट हैव कवर्ड केशवानंदा भारती केस 1973 ऑल्सो. आई थिंक अगर इतना सब आपके दिमाग में आ गया, आर्टिकल 13, जुडिशल रिव्यू, केबीसी 1973, तो आपको चीजें क्लियर हो जाएंगी. करेक्ट और नोट? तो जो पहला स्टेटमेंट है ना, दिस स्टेटमेंट, फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट, फर्स्ट पार्ट जो दिया गया है ना, दिस बेसिकली हिंट एट द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन which basically limit the parliament's ability to alter the fundamental framework of the constitution. जब हमने पढ़ी थी, करेक्ट और नॉट? दैट मीन्स parliament is not a supreme, parliament is not a sovereign parliament. I already, ये अगर आपने हमारी क्लास अटेंड की होगी पॉलिटी की, तो यू मस्ट अंडरस्टूड, आई हैव गिवन लॉट ऑफ टाइम, ये स्टेटमेंट बोला है, इंडियन पार्लियामेंट इज नॉट सॉवरन पार्लियामेंट, इट इज बेसिकली अ मिक्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्री सुप्रीमेसी सब्जेक्ट टू जुडिशल रिव्यू. तो जुडिशल रिव्यू जो आ रहा है वो कहाँ, डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर्स है. सो द क्वेश्चन बेसिकली ये बोलता है, क्वेश्चन क्या है नेक्स्ट, अगर आप पढ़ोगे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन को हम रिफ्रेश कर दे रहे हैं, रिफ्रेश. क्वेश्चन ये है रिफ्रेश में, कैन पार्लियामेंट डिस्ट्रॉय द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, यही तो बोल रहा है, कैन पार्लियामेंट डिस्ट्रॉय द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर बाय एक्सपेंडिंग इट्स अमेंडिंग पावर, इज पार्लियामेंट्स अमेंडिंग पावर अंडर आर्टिकल नंबर 368 इज एब्सोल्यूट और लिमिटेड. सिंपल. अब आपको चीजें समझ में आ गई होगी. सो दिस क्वेश्चन इज ऑल अबाउट वेदर कैन पार्लियामेंट डिस्ट्रॉय द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, whether can parliament alter the Keswananda Bharati case judgment, whether parliament has amending power under article number 368, that is absolute or limited. That was the question. Clear है कि नहीं? So अब आपको कुछ चीजें आपको ध्यान रखनी है इसमें, ब्रेन स्टॉर्म जब आप कर रहे हो, ब्रेन स्टॉर्म, तो जैसे ही फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट पढ़ोगे ना, फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट यूज आपको क्लिक होना चाहिए, दिस इज हाउ समहाउ रिलेटेड टू आर्टिकल नंबर 13. Any law that is inconsistent with fundamental right shall be considered as null and void. Understood? And based on that, then judicial review. आपको अब यहाँ पे आपको ये नहीं बताना है. Understood? One more thing, मैं आपको क्लियर कर दूं. You should not write here is कि how this doctrine, basic structure doctrine evolved. This is not the question. यहीं पे गलती होती है एक्चुअली. आप क्या करोगे यहाँ पे, यू विल स्टार्ट राइटिंग अबाउट हाउ दिस बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन इवॉल्व्ड. अब आप क्या करोगे, यू आर गोइंग टू मेंशन ऑल द इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर एग्जांपल केसेस एंड दैट कम टू द केशवानंद भारती केस. लाइक एग्जांपल, आप गोलकनाथ केस के बारे में डिस्कशन कर दोगे. अंडरस्टूड? वो सब नहीं करना है यहाँ पे, आपको ये सारे केसेस नहीं करने हैं, आपको डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे बात करना है. डायरेक्टली ये क्या है, दिस क्वेश्चन इज नॉट अबाउट हाउ दिस डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर इवॉल्व्ड, ये नहीं है. क्वेश्चन इज क्या पार्लियामेंट कैन डिस्ट्रॉय डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर और नॉट, और वेदर यू हैव टू गिव एग्जांपल्स. आपको एग्जांपल देने हैं कि व्हेनेवर पार्लियामेंट ट्राइड, अंडरस्टूड, यू हैव टू गिव एग्जांपल्स कि जब जब पार्लियामेंट ने ट्राई किया है, व्हेनेवर पार्लियामेंट ट्राइड टू डिस्ट्रॉय द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, तो वहां से उसको जुडिशरी की तरफ से तगड़ा धक्का मारा गया है. जुडिशरी हैज एक्चुअली स्ट्रक डाउन दैट टाइम, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम. तो दैट यू हैव टू प्रूव इट. आप कैसे लिखोगे इसमें, इन सच टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. फॉर एग्जांपल, सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है, यू हैव टू राइट इंट्रो. अब इंट्रो में आपको क्या लिखना है, जस्ट आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू. Intro. Intro should be very basic, very explanatory in nature about that question only. So, सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है? You can define in intro. You can define Article 368. Clear? You can define Article 368 and Parliament's amending power. क्या करना है इसको? And Parliament's amending power. ये आप कर सकते हो एक चीज. क्लियर है कि नहीं? Then mention basic structure, doctrine. क्या करें? Mention which limit the power. Which limit the power. This you have to write over here. Correct? Easy है. एंड देन आप लिख सकते हो कि पार्लियामेंट कैन नॉट अमेंड द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर एज पर जुडिशियल इंटरप्रिटेशन. आप क्या लिख सकते हो कि पार्लियामेंट कैन नॉट अमेंड द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर एज पर द केसवानंदा भारती केस. दिस इज योर इंट्रोडक्शन. दैट इज इट. दैट इज इंट्रोडक्शन कि यस पार्लियामेंट कैन अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अंडर आर्टिकल नंबर 368 subject to the basic structure doctrine given in one of the prominent case like केसवानंदा भारती case. ये आपका हो जाएगा intro. I think it is clear. Intro is clear. Now comes to intro. आपको कितने वर्ड में? Total is 250 words is there. तो आपको intro लिख देना है. Total how many words? Around 30 to 40 words में you have to write the intro. कितना? 30 to 40 words required. 30 to 40 words का मतलब होता है 3 to 4 line. In that UPSC answer sheet it require 3 to 4 line only. उसके बाद आते हैं बॉडी पार्ट. बॉडी पार्ट में कितने में लिखना है आपको? नेक्स्ट आता है बॉडी पार्ट. जब बॉडी पार्ट की बात आएगी देन इट बेसिकली रिक्वायर अराउंड हाउ मेनी 150 to 170 वर्ड्स. कितना चाहिए आपको? 150 to 170 वर्ड्स आर रिक्वायर्ड इन द बॉडी पार्ट. अब इसमें आपको क्या करना है बॉडी पार्ट में? एक्सप्लेन बेसिकली द कंसेप्ट ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर. आप जब एक्सप्लेन कर दोगे उसके बाद लिख दोगे कि पार्लियामेंट बेसिकली हैज ट्राइड, बेसिकली पार्लियामेंट हैज ट्राइड, ओके, दिस ट्राइड टू एक्सटेंड दिस अमेंडिंग पावर ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट. कैसे करेगा? देखो आपको क्या करना है कि केसवानंदा भारती जो केस था इट ऑलरेडी केम इन 1973. दैट मीन्स ऑलरेडी डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर केम इनटू पिक्चर. ऑलरेडी इट वाज एग्जिस्ट. इसके बावजूद भी आफ्टर दैट पार्लियामेंट हैज ट्राइड इट टू एक्सटेंड दिस अमेंडिंग पावर इनटू एब्सोल्यूट पावर. कैसे? एक आप केस ले सकते हो. दैट केस इज लाइक राज नारायण केस. नारायण केस और राज नारायण वर्सेस इंदिरा गांधी केस इन 1975. क्या केस है? राज नारायण वर्सेस, ओके, 1975 केस था. ये यू कैन मेंशन ओवर. व्हाट वाज दिस केस? In Raj Narayan versus Indira Gandhi case 1975, what Parliament has done over here is, here Parliament ने क्या किया था? Parliament has tried to change the constitution. कैसे? कि जो लोकसभा स्पीकर है, लोकसभा स्पीकर और जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर है, इनके जो इलेक्शन डिस्प्यूट है वो कोर्ट जैसे हाई कोर्ट जो है ना, दे कैन नॉट टेक इनटू कंसीडरेशन. ये लोग नहीं कर सकते हैं. करेक्ट है ना? लोकसभा स्पीकर, ओके, दे कैन नॉट टेक इनटू अकाउंट. सॉरी, लोकसभा स्पीकर और प्राइम मिनिस्टर का जो इलेक्शन डिस्प्यूट है दैट कैन नॉट बी डेल्ट एट द लेवल ऑफ हाई कोर्ट. ये बोला गया. तो इसको स्ट्रक डाउन किया गया क्योंकि हाई कोर्ट इज हैविंग जुडिशियल पावर. सो फर्स्ट टाइम दिस फॉर एग्जांपल पावर हैज बीन अप्लाइड ओवर इट राजनारायण केस. और यहाँ पे डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर हैज बीन अप्लाइड और ये बोला गया व्हाटएवर द अमेंडमेंट हैज बीन डन बाय द पार्लियामेंट, that means to exclude Lok Sabha election and Prime Minister's, okay, election dispute from this High Court, it has been removed, okay, and that is wrong and that is the reason ये power को गलत कर दिया गया by applying this doctrine of basic structure. क्या बोला गया कि judicial review is there. और भी आप केस ले सकते हो. आप मिनरवा मिल्स केस ले सकते हो. क्या एग्जाम्पल है? मिनरवा मिल्स केस. In Minerva Mills case also क्या हुआ? Reaffirm that parliament power is not absolute power. यहाँ पे ही बोला गया सेम फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर और आप आगे बढ़ोगे, थर्ड केस अगर हम आपको लें, थर्ड केस, इन दिस थर्ड केस फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू कैन टेक थर्ड केस, आई आर कोहिलो केस ले लो आप, 2007. Here also the same thing is there, IR Coelho case, कि no matter what, now if parliament put anything under ninth schedule, that will come under judicial review. So that is also, through this ninth schedule also, parliament cannot extend its power, amending power, because that also will come under judicial review through IR Coelho case. और भी आप फोर्थ जज केस ले लो, fourth judge case. In fourth judge case, where 99th constitutional amendment has been rejected, especially regarding judicial appointment, जो कमीशन बनाया गया था JAC, जो नेशनल जुडिशल अपॉइंटमेंट कमीशन, that has been struck down. That is also because of basic structure what independent judiciary that was in danger. तब भी पार्लियामेंट की जो पावर थी that has been curtailed here again. उसके बाद और क्या है, there is the article number 13 is there, that is going to curtail parliament's power कि any law that is inconsistent with fundamental rights. उसके बाद फिफ्थ में आप लिख, सिक्स्थ में आप लिख सकते हो तो जुडिशल रिव्यू ऑलरेडी इट इज देयर. उसके बाद और भी कर सकते हो, सिक्स्थ में आप फेडरलिज्म, फेडरलिज्म में क्या है कि पार्लियामेंट अमेंड एनी पार्ट दैट इज फेडरल इन नेचर, वहां पे हाफ ऑफ द स्टेट असेंबली कंसेंट इज रिक्वायर्ड, दैट इज ऑल्सो यू कैन राइट ओवर हियर. So because of these reasons, parliament cannot extend its amending power. Parliament cannot extend its amending power into absolute power, that you can write. So parliament can amend the constitution, but it cannot destroy its core values like secularism, like democracy, like federalism, like independence of judiciary. These things cannot be possible because judiciary act as a guardian to prevent the misuse of power. ये आप कर सकते हो इन कितने 170 वर्ड्स में. देखो in this particular answer I am not okay mention about how judicial this how doctrine of basic structure evolved. That is not the question. Question is whether parliament can basically destroy this doctrine of basic structure or not, and parliament has tried to destroy it, but every time this, for example, judiciary struck down it, correct. नेक्स्ट इज, अब आते हैं कंक्लूजन. जब आप कंक्लूजन लिखोगे यहाँ पे कंक्लूजन, whenever you write conclusion, so conclusion should be for how many words? Conclusion require around 30 to 40 words here. कितना? 30 to 40 words. So you understood now, out of 250 words questions में क्या करना है, 30 to 40 words intro, 150 to 170 words body, and 30 to 40 क्या conclusion. Conclusion में क्या लिख रहा हूँ? Summarize the parliament power to amend is not absolute. It is subject to judicial review, ensuring the basic structure remains intact. Correct? That is how. Concluding by reaffirming that any attempt, correct, to alter the basic structure will be struck down by the judiciary. That is the conclusion. I hope you understood this. So here, identify the keywords. Like example, basic structure, Article 368, judicial review, important landmark cases, that you have to mention over here. I hope it is clear now, this question. Now again you read this question, again you read this question, and I hope you can write the answer easily now. This question was asked in 2019 JS paper 2, 15 marker to 50 words. Clear this? So now you can write the answer. So now it is your task to write the answer. Correct? ये आपको कंप्लीट करना है. ऐसा नहीं सिंपली आपने क्लास देखा और जस्ट स्किप कर दिया. दैट यू शुड नॉट डू इट. You have to proper write the answer also. Clear? Now we will move to another question. Next question is this. Read this question. The growth of cabinet system has practically resulted in the marginalization of parliamentary supremacy. अब यहाँ पे कीवर्ड जो मेंशन है, दैट कीवर्ड दैट इज इलुसिडेट. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस टर्म इलुसिडेट हियर इज, इलुसिडेट मीन्स होता है एक्सप्लेन इन वेरी सिंपल वर्ड्स. करेक्ट, एक्सप्लेन इन वेरी सिंपल वर्ड, दैट इज इलुसिडेट. क्लियर? Growth of cabinet system has practically resulted in the marginalization of parliamentary supremacy. Elucidate. And कितना है, 150 वर्ड्स में है. ये आपका 10 मार्कर क्वेश्चन. सो 10 मार्कर क्वेश्चन जो है, आई टोल्ड यू हाउ मेनी टाइम यू रिक्वायर, 7 मिनट. जिसमें 1 मिनट टू थिंक and 6 minutes to write. But since you are beginner, so for you right now I will give you for 10 marker. Time is like, think के लिए आप 3 minute ले लो and writing के लिए you take 7 minute. So ultimately you can take total 10 minute. So for the first few questions, that means first 20 to 30 questions के लिए I am going to give you some time. ये 10 marker you can write, you can think in 3 minutes. That means this question like this, in 3 minutes you have to think about it. In 3 minutes you have to brainstorm. You have to think about the approach in the 3 minutes. In 3 minutes you have to think about the demand of the questions, the content requirement of the questions, and then structure how to write the answer. That you have to think about in 3. And 3 minute time is enough time. It is not a very less time, it is enough time. And 7 minutes may have to write the answer. 7 minutes में, 7 minutes may have to write how many words, 150 word is there. That means at least you have to write in 2 pages. तो और आपको करना है 1.5 pages. अगर आपको 2 पेज नहीं हो रहा तो at least 1.5 page. But total words should be at least 150 words. Here I am considering in 1 page you are going to write 100 words. So next half 50 words in 50% page. That is एक हमें time management clear हो गया. This is the, see, this is only for the beginning. उसके बाद definitely you have to try to come down as closer as possible to this. Understood? अगर आपने ये वाला achieve कर लिया तो that means you will be able to complete the question paper easily. Now next is the growth of cabinet system has practically, understood, not theoretically, the term क्या है, practically resulted in the marginalization. Marginalization means importance उसका कम हो गया, किसका, parliamentary supremacy का. Elucidate means simple में आपको explain करना है what is the meaning of this term is. See, growth of cabinet system, जो एक कैबिनेट सिस्टम है, दैट इज पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट है. और पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म गवर्नमेंट इंडिया में उसमें एक कैबिनेट होता है, दैट इज एग्जीक्यूटिव. कैबिनेट हेडेड बाय द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, दैट इज द एग्जीक्यूटिव. जो अभी एग्जीक्यूटिव जो लोग हैं उनकी वजह से क्या हुआ है कि पार्लियामेंट की जो सुप्रीमेसी है दैट हैज गॉट रिड्यूस्ड. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन. So question basically, you have to understand the question properly. Question criticize the increasing dominance of the cabinet over parliament. That means executive over legislature. See, parliament का role क्या है? If you read article number 75, parliament का role है to make government accountable, to make executive accountable to the parliament. That is what article number 75 है. यही तो है कि दैट मीन्स काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर शैल बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू द लोकसभा. लेकिन उस काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर में जो ऑल मिनिस्टर्स हैं, दे आर नॉट टेकिंग द मेजर डिसीजन. मेजर डिसीजन इज टेकन बाय द कैबिनेट. करेक्ट. एंड इस कैबिनेट के जो लोग हैं, दे आर द मेंबर्स ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट आल्सो. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट दिस कैबिनेट, दे आर नाउ रनिंग द पार्लियामेंट. And now parliament is not able to make cabinet accountable. That is what the question is. So question basically criticize the increasing dominance of the executive, that is cabinet, over the parliament, that is legislature. So it basically asks this, ये question क्या पूछ रहा है? This question asks whether cabinet system has weakened the parliamentary supremacy. Understood? This question asks that whether cabinet system जो है has weakened the parliamentary supremacy, meaning that parliament's role in law making and governance has diminished. That means because of this emergence of cabinet system, the role of parliament in the law making, role of the parliament in the governance system has diminished, that is the question. तो जो की फ्रेज जो दिया है ना, marginalization of parliamentary supremacy imply that parliament does not function as independently as it was intended in a democracy. Understood? That means marginalization of parliamentary supremacy simply means that if parliament is not functioning, parliament जो है ना, it is not functioning as independently as it was intended in a democracy. That is what the question is. अब आप लोगों को ये क्वेश्चन समझ में आया कि नहीं? इट इज इजी क्वेश्चन. क्यों? क्योंकि सी इंडिया में वी आर नॉट हैविंग ए सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर अनलाइक इन केस ऑफ यूएसए. सो जो कैबिनेट के जो मेंबर्स हैं लाइक मिनिस्टर्स, these कैबिनेट मेंबर्स जो है ना, दे आर आल्सो द मेंबर्स ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट. अंडरस्टूड? तो जो कैबिनेट के जो मेंबर्स हैं वो पार्लियामेंट के भी मेंबर्स हैं, और जो पार्लियामेंट के जो मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्स हैं, एमपीज, स्पेशली दोज बिलोंग टू द रूलिंग पार्टी, ये लोग कभी भी कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स के अगेंस्ट नहीं जा सकते. दे कैन नॉट गो अगेंस्ट द कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स. अंडरस्टूड? सो व्हेन दे कैन नॉट गो अगेंस्ट कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स, अब कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स और जो कैबिनेट है टोटल हेडेड बाय द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, ये डिसाइड करते हैं कब पार्लियामेंट को सम्मन किया जाए, कब पार्लियामेंट को इधर उधर किया जाए. इनके पास ऑर्डिनेंस मेकिंग पावर भी होती है कि दे कैन बाईपास द पार्लियामेंट आल्सो बाय पासिंग इन ऑर्डिनेंस. अंडरस्टूड और नॉट? They can decide when to discuss, when not to discuss. They will issue, for example, whip to their own actually ruling MPs कि which side you have to vote, which side you should not vote. Because of that, जो parliament बेचारा है ना, parliament that is not able to function properly now. So first is introduction. अगर इसमें हम देखें क्या करना है, फर्स्ट आपको लिखना है इंट्रोडक्शन. इंट्रोडक्शन कितने वर्ड्स में आपको लिखना है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगेन इंट्रोडक्शन आप रिड्यूस नहीं कर सकते, वी हैव टू राइट इन 30 वर्ड्स एटलीस्ट हियर. ऐसा नहीं है कि 150 वर्ड है तो इंट्रोडक्शन इन 10 वर्ड्स. नो, इंट्रोडक्शन स्टिल रिक्वायर 30 वर्ड्स ओनली. सो यहाँ पे यू हैव टू डिफाइन कैबिनेट सिस्टम. द कैबिनेट led by the prime minister is the executive head of the government. In a parliamentary democracy, parliament is supposed to hold the cabinet accountable. एकदम सिंपल. ये आप लिख सकते हो according to article number 75, council officers shall be responsible to the Lok Sabha, that is executive only. But better आप ऐसा लिख दो, first define the cabinet system. क्या होता है? Cabinet means cabinet is headed by the prime minister and is the executive head of the government. In a parliamentary democracy, जो पार्लियामेंट है सपोज टू होल्ड द कैबिनेट अकाउंटेबल. हाउएवर, आप फिर से लिखो, हाउएवर कैबिनेट हैज बिकम सो पावरफुल दैट पार्लियामेंट्स इंडिपेंडेंस हैज रिड्यूस्ड. उसके बाद आप आओगे बॉडी पार्ट्स में. अब बॉडी पार्ट्स में आपको हाउ मेनी वर्ड्स इज रिक्वायर्ड? अराउंड 90 to 110 वर्ड्स में यू कैन राइट द बॉडी. 90 वर्ड्स आप लिख लो, चलो 90 वर्ड्स में और 80 वर्ड्स में यू कैन टू राइट द बॉडी पार्ट्स. अब हाउ कैबिनेट सिस्टम डोमिनेट्स, यहाँ पे आपको लंबा लंबा बिग बिग पैराग्राफ नहीं लिखना है. सी बी केयरफुल हियर इज नो नीड टू राइट ए बिग पैराग्राफ्स, small small pointers, because ultimately you have to tell the examiner कि you know the answer, you know the content, उसके पास तक हिंट जाना चाहिए. that's it. so आपको यहाँ पे क्या प्रूव करना है कि हाउ, क्योंकि यहाँ पे elucidate बोला है, critically analyze तो बोला नहीं है. you have to go against the statement, you have to prove this statement. understood or not? क्या बोला? elucidate. elucidate means एक्सप्लेन इन सिंपल वर्ड्स. सिंपल वर्ड्स में एक्सप्लेन के लिए क्या करना है? जो कुछ है उसको ट्रू मानना है एंड देन यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन विद एग्जांपल्स. तो अब एग्जांपल्स में क्या लिखोगे कि हाउ कैबिनेट सिस्टम बेसिकली डोमिनेट ओवर द पार्लियामेंट. उसके लिए क्या करोगे? एग्जांपल लाइक पीएमओ, सब कुछ डिसाइड कर रहा है आपका पीएमओ, प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफिस हैज बिकम द रियल डिसीजन मेकर, रिड्यूसिंग द पार्लियामेंट्स जैसे रबर स्टैम्प. उसके बाद है प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कलेक्टिव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कलेक्टिव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जो है आर्टिकल नंबर 75 कलेक्टिव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की, जो रूलिंग पार्टी एमपीज हैं दे कैन नॉट क्वेश्चन द गवर्नमेंट फ्रीली, बिकॉज इफ दे स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग गवर्नमेंट फ्रीली ना, देन अपोजिशन को क्या लगेगा? ओके, दिस रूलिंग पार्टी जो एमपीज हैं दे आर आल्सो अगेंस्ट द गवर्नमेंट, लेट्स इंट्रोड्यूस नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन अगेंस्ट द गवर्नमेंट, सो दे आर आल्सो. उसके बाद क्या है? थर्ड इज एंटी डिफेक्शन. एंटी डिफेक्शन का क्या मतलब यहाँ पे रहा है कि इफ रूलिंग पार्टी एमपी समहाउ दे एक्चुअली डू अपोजिट टू व्हाट कैबिनेट दे आर एक्चुअली एक्सपेक्टिंग, देन एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ लगा के दे विल प्रिवेंट द एमपीज फ्रॉम अपोजिंग कैबिनेट डिसीजंस आल्सो इन पार्लियामेंट. फिर से प्रॉब्लम हो गई. देन फोर्थ इशू इज रिगार्डिंग ऑर्डिनेंस मेकिंग पावर, that is article number 123. so through ordinance दिस अलाउ द एग्जीक्यूटिव टू बाईपास द पार्लियामेंट ऑल्सो। तो फिर से पार्लियामेंट की पावर कमजोर हो गई। उसके बाद आफ्टर दैट जो पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटीज हैं उनका वीक होना। फिफ्थ इज वीकनिंग ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटीज। और जो पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटीज हैं उनके जो मेंबर्स हैं दे आर बेस्ड ऑन प्रोपोर्शनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन। दैट मीन्स कि जिस पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट विल बी मोर, उनकी मेंबरशिप यहाँ ज्यादा होगी। बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रीजन क्या हो जाएगा यहाँ पे कि इधर जो पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटीज हैं members those belongs to the ruling party they will be more in number compared to the opposition parties, and since the members of the ruling parties are more, so these parliamentary committees they will not function in a way so that they will oppose the cabinet decisions. So again weakening of parliamentary committee means policies are rarely scrutinized, that is again problem, correct? So this is the examples I have given you कि why the growth of cabinet system has practically resulted in the marginalization of parliamentary supremacy. Understood? So that is the answer you can write over here. Lack of free debates due to the party discipline, like anti-defection is there, that is problem is there, and ministers are often they are appointed based on the loyalty instead of merit. That is the cases. So that is the impact on parliamentary supremacy. अब conclusion में आपको क्या लिखना है? So when you come to the conclusion, अब कंक्लूजन आपका कितना होना चाहिए? अरे वही 20 to 30 वर्ड्स का कंक्लूजन इज रिक्वायर्ड। अब कंक्लूजन में क्या है कि वेदर यू लाइक इट कि पार्लियामेंट्री जो सुप्रीमेसी दैट शुड बी मार्जिनलाइज्ड, वेदर यू थिंक दिस, तो आपको लगे कि नहीं इट शुड नॉट बी एक्चुअली, तो वही आप कंक्लूजन में क्या लिखोगे कि कैबिनेट हैज गेन्ड एक्सेसिव पावर। कैबिनेट क्या है? कैबिनेट हैज गेन्ड एक्सेसिव पावर reducing parliament's ability to act independently, correct or not? This is what has been done. So to restore parliamentary supremacy there should be a stronger debate, there should be opposition rights, institutional checks and strengthening of parliamentary committees. ऐसा आप कंक्लूजन में क्या दोगे? यू विल गिव द सोल्यूशन, करेक्ट? क्या क्या करना है हमको? वी नीड टू डू स्ट्रॉन्गर डिबेट होना चाहिए, करेक्ट है ना? अपोजिशन को थोड़ा राइट्स भी मिलना चाहिए, इंस्टीट्यूशनल सम चेक्स एंड बैलेंस चाहिए, लाइक जो पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटीज हैं दैट शुड बी स्ट्रेंथनाइड, सो दैट वी हैव टू फॉलो हियर इज इन द कंक्लूजन, एंड दैट इज हाउ यू कैन कंप्लीट योर आंसर इन 150 वर्ड्स. सो कीवर्ड्स में क्या है? कैबिनेट सिस्टम के बारे में बात करना है, एंड देन कैबिनेट सिस्टम डोमिनेंस के बारे में बात करना है, एंटी डिफेक्शन के बारे में, ऑर्डिनेंस मेकिंग पावर के बारे में, दिस यू हैव टू डिस्कस अबाउट इट. So I hope whatever the content here I have mentioned, that is not very extraordinary content that you were not aware about it. This is very simple content. If you already read your Lakshmikant 1 or 2 times, you will understand this content. You already aware about it. Only problem was understanding the questions. And जैसे आपने ये वाला word elucidate देखा, आपको एकदम problem ही नहीं हुई. I told you keyword अगर आप aware है, elucidate means क्या होता है? Elucidate simply means होता है कि क्या होता है? Elucidate means just simplify. That's it. Clear? So this was basically in today's session I have taken. So next session में फिर से हम लोग आएंगे. We are going to discuss some more questions. Okay. So here we have discussed all those things. So next जो session होगा उसमें few more questions from the polity I am going to discuss. So do follow and make notes proper. Thank you.